Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy CL Anthony, my main man Bryce Ward, my second favorite white boy in the world, Michael Franz, and Chef Pat. What's going on, fellas?
What's up? What's up?
What up,
You
what up?
would save me for last,
Glad to be here.
I mean, if you want to throw me some of that $10 billion y'all just got, you know what I'm saying?
You
I'll
feel
take
me?
some
We
of that.
got plenty of money in there. You feel me? Plenty
I
of
would
money.
take it. I would
Come
take
on
it.
over. Giannis,
That man
we
Pat
here
is
for
gonna
you,
go
boy.
find Jeannie Buss's profile on Tinder and swipe right.
Hey.
Genie's still bad though, man. Genie's still bad.
Ooh, what? Come on.
You have to wait for LeBron James to finish. You know he's in there somewhere.
He already did it, bro. What are you talking about?
It's okay. Pat will be at the Diddy parties with LeBron and Jeannie.
No, negative.
Oh.
We gonna shut that down now. No, hell no. No
They
Diddy
have
over
one
here.
right
No
now.
party, like a Diddy party.
No Diddy.
So
Hey,
this
Giannis, if you're listening, Giannis.
Nah.
Come on home, Bubby. Come on home.
He stayed in Milwaukee.
I got something for you on that one, CL.
Hold on. Oh,
Joker,
we're already off the
Joker,
rails today. We're already off.
Joker. Hey, Joker. Come on home, baby.
The most relevant thing that we have going on today, this afternoon, well, this evening at 8 p.m. is the two greatest words in sports. We have a game 7 tonight. So I'm going to throw it to Bryce first. How the fuck did we get here, Bryce?
Everybody underestimating the Pacers, including the players on the court, I think. Carlisle coaching. I think OKC getting a little tight, especially in that last game. I think a lot of things are leading up to this. But the biggest thing is like us not being surprised by this. A lot of people were originally surprised that the Pacers made it past Game 4 or even 5. So even I picked OKC in 6, but this is what I was hoping to see. This is what every fan, whether you're a fan of those two teams or not, this is what we're hoping to see. So I'm pulling for the Pacers tonight. I think OKC has, not that they can't overcome the pressure. I've only really seen them do it once in this series, to where I felt like they had the fight that they needed to in the fourth quarter to close out a game, whereas Indiana's had to do it a lot. So my hunch is Indiana. I think Thunder are a little tight. I think it'll take them a while to loosen up. Not that they won't have their stretches where they look like they're going to win, but I think I'm going to go with Indiana.
Mike, how the fuck did we get here, considering you were predicting a sweep or a 5-game series?
I wasn't the only one predicting that, by the way. There's a lot of people predicting that.
We done with this guy? Are we done with
I
this
can't
guy?
wait for somebody to say that. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
So
It's all love.
So I mean, it still could have been. Like, we didn't see a major lead by the Pacers until Game 6. They had a 12-point lead at one point before it blew up, and it was their biggest lead of the whole series. Let's be honest. Like, they led Game 1 for 0.3 seconds of the game, right? So it's not like, in my opinion, that, like, I feel like Indiana has done a lot. Don't get me wrong. They've surprised me by getting this far, getting into Game 7. But I feel like the OKC Thunder are losing it more than Indiana's winning it.
So would that go to like testicular fortitude? Like, are the Thunder playing soft? Are they not playing focused? Like, what is the reason for them losing it versus Indiana winning it?
So I think that there's a little bit of underestimation in like Game 1. They had the wrong matchup on Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes.
I think Game 6, I watched that from start to finish. That was not OKC playing OKC basketball. I'll be the one to say it right now, and I know this man's about to be saying some shit. I feel
already
like
know.
OKC wants to just win it at home.
You can't bank
So-
on that though. You can't bank
Huh?
on that. If you're a team, you can't bank on Game 7 at home. You
No,
work
you
the whole
definitely
season for
can.
that. Right.
You definitely can. But
Okay.
But when I was watching this game, I'm like, this is not OKC playing OKC basketball.
Mhm.
When they had an 8 3-point difference, which was the difference going into the third quarter. Right? It was like 22 points.
Right.
They had 8 more threes than OKC. OKC was throwing up stupid shit. They were shooting horribly that night. Now, did you actually sleep through that game or did you watch it?
I think I slept through.
He's deflecting, Cam. Don't let him do it. Don't let
No,
him
I'm not
do
gonna.
it.
No, I'm not gonna do
He's
it.
deflecting.
No, I'm
I
not
watched
doing
the
any of
first-
that. I'm not
I
doing any
watched
of
the
that.
first quarter, then I went to sleep. Then I woke up in the third quarter and saw that the Pacers were up by 20, and I said, "Fuck it," and went back to sleep.
Right. And I mean, to sit here and say they're up 20, of course it's at home. They have the home crowd behind them. But it took them to game 6, as good as they've apparently been playing, to go up by at least 12. When OKC has done that multiple times throughout this series already. That's their type of game. Chet Holmgren was playing terrible. He was missing dunks, bro. Like,
So that means they're tight. That means they're tight.
if that's what you want to call it. To
Yeah,
me,
that's what
I call it. I want to win at home.
Got it, Pat.
What's my audio?
How you good, Pat? How we get here, Pat? Game 7. How we get here? Uh-oh. Did we lose, Pat? There you
He'll
go, Pat. We got you.
probably say something like the Lakers fell out of it, so that's why any team has a chance. Probably something twisted around the Lakers.
Lakers. Hold on. What was that? The Lakers fell out of what now? What happened?
Pat, how we get to Game 7, Pat?
We got to game 7 because the Pacers are a good team. Y'all been underestimating the Pacers the entire playoffs, including myself. That's how we got to game 7. And you're still in denial talking about OKC is losing the series. No, sir. The Pacers are winning the series. The game was close. I'm trying to recall the game. The game was close.
The game's in OKC tonight, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Well, yeah, we only got one left, bro. But
I'm calling right now. It's going to be a 20-point win.
Hey,
The Pacers prove to us
you thought
game
it was
1
gonna
they
be a
can come
sweep.
out. They can come out and win in OKC.
you thought it was gonna be a sweep, too, bro. Yeah, game 1, you got slapped in the mouth, and you still, I don't know what it's gonna take for you to see that you. The Pacers are a good team, but hey, man, just keep underestimating them. But the game was close. I think first, second quarter, they both were missing a lot of shots. I'm trying to recall. I can't remember.
In the first,
Thunder started
Indiana
off.
Indiana didn't miss damn near anything. Neesmith was shooting threes left and right.
The
That man
Thunder
Miles
started
Turner
off
finally
hot.
broke out of his smoke. Like,
Not in the first quarter. It was pretty contentious. Then the Pacers started pulling away at one point, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think
like
the
36
Oklahoma City,
with
Oklahoma
like
City
two
didn't get
minutes
away
left in the
from
first quarter. They started pulling away.
Oklahoma City didn't really get away from what they typically do. They just weren't making any shots. So yeah, man, the Pacers are legit, man, and y'all better start putting some respect on their name because it's game 7.
You need
Y'all
to
thought
change
they were
that
gonna
hat
be
on
some-
your head to a Pacers hat, bro.
That's
Same color.
blasphemy, bro.
Same color. So,
Hey,
Blasphemy, bro.
I couldn't tell the difference right now.
so let's reel this thing back in real quick. All right. So
That was lame as hell. What?
Bryce has predicted the Pacers winning tonight. Mike is going with the Thunder. Pat, who you got winning tonight?
Pacers in 7, like I said already.
And I got the Pacers winning tonight as well. So here's my
I
question.
can't wait till next Sunday.
I'm gonna throw in the price.
I couldn't wait till this Sunday because, boy,
Me
you've been
and
taking
Bryce,
L's, Mike.
me and Bryce both are agents of chaos, and we love chaos. So, Bryce, how chaotic would it be if the Indiana Pacers do pull it out tonight?
Majorly from all the love that OKC has gotten this series, and I'm not even like trying to bury OKC. They're clearly a good team. It's just the hype around them, I think, was a little overstated based on them just having a really good regular season and one of the best defenses we've seen, in a while. So I think that's part of it. And then SGA winning MVP is another piece to that puzzle, because it just adds to the momentum that this OKC train has had this season. And so with all the talks around, like, you see some wild stuff online, and I don't take like hardly any of it seriously, but I mean, you see such extremes as like SGA being on like a Kobe level or something like that already, and I just don't understand. I don't understand putting people on these pedestals so early based on, comparing him to someone like Kobe, who we have the entire of his career to look at. So I think a lot of it is premature. I think there's a lot of pundits and people just looking for the answer and trying to force an answer about some of these questions with the league on us, and trying to force that and put that on OKC in this title run. Like I said, I don't quite understand it. I think it's going to be a major blow if OKC doesn't win. I think some of the praise that SGA has received so far, if they lose, is a bit of an asterisk on his not like long term, but for the immediate future. It's like it won't be something that I will forget about if OKC blows the series after everything that they've had to get here, after all the praise, the season they've had. It was an impressive season, but we know that doesn't guarantee you a championship. And we also, just because you're an MVP doesn't mean you're going to perform in the finals and win your team a championship. So I know the MVP and that's not supposed to be connected, but they clearly waited till after the see who was going to win the Denver series to see who was probably going to get that. In my opinion, that's what it looked like. So I think it'll be a major catastrophe for OKC to lose this series, based on how much hype the other people in the NBA industry has put around them. It's bad enough to just lose in the finals, but I feel like there's a bunch of extra praise and a bunch of all this extra weight from the season and from these other NBA pundits and just the NBA in general on OKC, which is part of the reason why I think they're going to lose. So I think it's I don't think it's as bad as when Golden State lost when Bron came back with Cleveland. I don't know, because that team was a little bit more impressive to me, but it's definitely getting close to that kind of downfall if OKC can't close out this series. A major disaster for them, especially since especially since being in Oklahoma, they don't have a title. So there's just all this weight, and it's going to be a catastrophe for that franchise if they don't pull it off. And the rest of the league is going to act surprised and just like they blew it. But really, I mean, the Pacers are just really good, and they should have been given more of a chance from the start. But in terms of OKC, their season, the MVP, their defense, all these things, it's a major loss for them if they can't pull it off. I don't know if it's as big as other people make it seem, but it's definitely a huge problem, if you ask me.
Mike, you got it. So in the event, let's say that, and we're not shitting on OKC at all, but in the event that OKC loses tonight, do you think that's going to be a catastrophe for that franchise?
Absolutely. They have a lot of people to pay this summer, so I'm curious what's going to end up happening. So I'm looking at it like that, right? What do they at that point? Do they throw their hat in, since they have so many people, so many opportunities, like whether it's draft picks, which aren't going to be great, let's be honest, because they're at the top of the league, but they've got multiple draft picks. They've got a good bench. They've got other people that are expendable if this blows up. Do they try and go get KD with any of these guys and try and bring him back home? I don't know. I don't want to see that. I absolutely don't want to see it.
Yeah,
me personally, I want to see KD just retire. But is it a possibility? Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It could go any of those ways, but that's what I'm saying. Like, do they at least throw their hat in for any of these possible stars that are going to be free agents? Or trading opportunities. You know what I mean?
Nobody wants to go to
That you
Oklahoma
coming
State.
off of.
Huh?
If you go after anybody with a decent or somewhat of a name, like who would OKC come off of? Since nobody's going to really want their picks as much, I would imagine.
So it would probably be Isaiah Hartenstein, I would assume. He'd probably be thrown in the mix. I would hate to say it, but because he's so valuable and has been so good, Jalen Williams.
Yeah, it'd be J-Dub, yeah. Dark-skinned Jalen Williams, yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah,
Pat.
Nobody wants to go to OKC, bro. Let's get that established already. Okay.
Pat, how big of a catastrophe would it be if the Thunder failed tonight? Because remember now, the Thunder have all the pressure in the world on the night. Pacers don't have any pressure tonight.
You're right. I don't know if it would be a catastrophe. I think that's hyperbolic, guys. But I don't know all the ins and outs of contracts and what the future looks like. I think they overachieved this season. Nobody thought they would have the best record in the league. I didn't think they were going to make it to the finals out of the West. I picked the Minnesota Timberwolves. So,
by the way, with that, when we had that, do we remember who I picked to win the whole thing at that beginning?
I don't remember. Who you picked?
OKC.
You picked OKC in the preseason?
No, I picked OKC when we did that episode before the playoffs started.
Got it.
Oh, okay. Well,
but OKC was the number one defensive team last year, which I always have been saying, and they've been at the top of their game since last season. So coming into this season, this wasn't a surprise.
What? Okay.
Maybe to you, but not to me.
Okay. Anyways, most people did not pick OKC to have that record this year and to make it to the NBA Finals this year. I wouldn't say this season is a disaster for them if they lost. It's a very competitive NBA Finals. Nobody saw this matchup. Nobody saw this matchup coming. So, it's been a great series. Whoever wins tonight, I think both teams were successful this season, and I don't know how that's going to affect next season with free agency. I don't know all the ins and outs on that, but just making it to this point, in my opinion, is very successful.
So this is what I'm going to say. And the reason why I say a catastrophe is this. The last time the OKC Thunder were in the finals, and of course it was a generation ago, but the last time they were in the finals, they were actually favored to win that finals. And I was scared shitless of that team that featured Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was scared shitless of that team. I did not want to see them in the finals, and I did. We lucked up and beat them in 5 games. When they lost that championship, that team never got back. So I just want to, there's parallels with that team and with this team. A young team coming up, a young team built the right way, a young team that everyone was getting praise to. So why I say catastrophe is there's a possibility that if OKC loses this finals, they may not get back because we've seen it happen before.
They won't.
That's true.
And that's why I'm very tough when it comes to calling a team great before they've actually won anything. I'm very tough on that. So it's nothing against OKC. This could be Minnesota in this spot, and if people called them great, I'd be like, hold up, they ain't won shit yet. That's why I was so hard on Boston until they actually won one. So it's a possibility that this team, if they fail tonight, could not return, and that's why I call it a catastrophe.
With that said, being in a small market, the way they draft players, they drafted 3 MVPs back in, so that's crazy. And then they have another MVP currently. So to be in a small market, they're doing things pretty good over there,
They are.
So speaking of that point that you just made, Pat, you said nobody was going to pick OKC to win the championship this year, right?
Nobody picked OKC at the beginning of the season to win the championship.
2024-2025 Vegas lines had OKC at plus 675. They were the number 2 team behind Boston, but Boston was only there because they won last year. So Vegas knew something that apparently nobody knew before.
I don't go on Vegas. I'm
Vegas. Are you kidding me? Money talks, bro. Like Vegas.
I'm a people person. I'm not a money person. So okay.
Hey, follow the money. You get your answers.
We're going to pivot to the next topic now, which no one knows what this is going to be but me. So, next NBA topic. So, just to wrap this last topic up, we got 3-1 Pacers versus OKC tonight as far as the predictions. Okay. Next topic. Ring culture in the NBA.
Yeah.
I knew this was coming.
Oh, you had to know it was coming.
LeBron James.
Let's have this convo.
Bryce is like, I'm about to go. Bryce is like, I'm about to go.
Yeah, Bryce wouldn't know anything about ring culture.
Stop that.
Hey, to go back to your comment to say nobody wants to play in OKC. Lots of guys would want to go to that OKC team because they're good. It's a different perspective when you're the Lakers and you've had the privilege of having all the money and the location and the championships to where you're in line for every free agent, even the ones you don't want because they all want to go to Cali. I get it. But to say nobody wants to go to OKC, that's crazy, and that's from a perspective of a spoiled fan from a spoiled fan base, the Lakers. So I hope you guys get to win again soon, because if you don't, you guys start acting like it's the end of the fucking world. Let's get to this ring culture talk, because this is bullshit.
Nobody wants to move to Oklahoma City, bro.
They don't need to move to Oklahoma City.
They just want to play for a good basketball team. It's not everybody. You got the glamorous players that want to go to LA. There's guys who would want to go play for OKC. Don't, that's crazy talk.
Here we go.
Oklahoma City, LA. Oklahoma City, bro, what?
If Oklahoma City can offer you a 3-year, $150 million deal, but the Lakers can only offer you a 5-year, $150 million deal, that means the 3-year is still more valuable. You're going to take that.
But you're in Los Angeles, California, playing for the Lakers.
Yeah. Wait till it burns down. Then they'll have to go to a different city.
McDonald's,
these guys
Verizon. Those people.
I'm gonna give you the perfect segue here. I'm gonna give you the perfect segue here for this, okay?
Money, man.
Because
Target.
As far as rings go, these guys care about money more than they do anything these days.
Yeah, look at Book in the contract he's about to take and what he's going to do to the Phoenix, set them back again.
Exactly.
That's
if he doesn't get traded.
James. Tell me about ring culture, guys, because your guys don't have rings. So I want to hear you guys' opinions on rings.
Hold on. We're not gonna disrespect Bryce like that because everyone here has rings. We're not gonna disrespect Bryce.
Lots of teams without rings. We'll get ours soon enough. Don't worry.
So 2030. So,
Biden.
with that said, here we go. Ring culture. So LeBron James was on the podcast. I can't think of the name of it, with Steve Nash, who was trash, and was talking about, the quote unquote non-importance of ring culture. Okay. So I'm going to throw this to Pat and I'm going to throw it to Mike first, because when we grew up, we talked about rings back in the day, mostly in a conversation with Russell, Jordan, Wilt had a couple, Magic had 5, Bird had 3. This has always been a conversation. So like ring culture, this notion that is new hasn't been new because we've always had this conversation. Okay. So my question is, let me throw it to Mike first. Do you think LeBron is downplaying this because he only has 4 compared to some of the other greats that have more?
I mean, he could be. We know that LeBron can be an emotional individual.
Okay.
So yeah, he really could be trying to change the narrative a little bit, and because I mean, it's done a whole 180. When he was in his prime years and whatnot, it was I'm not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Right? Then we had that happen. Right? Then we had when he went back to Cleveland, talking about chasing the ghost of 6. Right? So rings have always been on his mind. and now all of a sudden it's a different story. Like, we can have the argument as far as individual players being better than the other, right? But rings are a resume item.
Yes.
I think in any of the debates and any of the conversations, I think that the weight of the ring portion is way too much from the individual comparisons. Right. So does that make sense, Pat? You look confused.
Break that. I don't understand how you said that. What do you mean?
The pressure of chasing the ring.
Right. Well, for example,
the individual accolade is what you're saying.
No. I'm talking about value on the court, right? Complete value on the court, and how I think a lot of people actually put rings in the conversation when debating player for player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're gonna sit here and talk about Michael Jordan being the GOAT of all time, and everybody, oh, he's got 6 rings, he's got 6 rings. The easy thing to say at that point is, well, guess what? Bill Russell has it. He's twice the player Michael Jordan is. He's almost got double the rings. He's got 11, right? So if rings are going to be part of the conversation, I think that weight of immediate conversation of Jordan's got 6, right? I sent CL a image that I had found, and it was John Havlicek. If you look at John Havlicek's career, like rings, playoffs, everything, it's all in line. His numbers are in line with Jordan, and he's got 8 rings. So does that mean that John Havlicek is better than Michael Jordan?
No, I can't wait.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody comes with the rings, rather than what did they do to the team. Like, I'll put the position of, like, when we're talking of the Jordan and LeBron debate, when Jordan left the Bulls the first time, they still made the playoffs and had 54 wins without him.
They got to the conference finals.
Right? Scottie Pippen was on the team.
My point exactly. We're getting to my, as far as what rings are valued in the conversation of player for player. It adds to the resume, but I don't think it's a valid sole argument for who's better than who. And I think a lot of people put that weight on that part of the conversation, which is why ring culture is so big. Everybody wants to call it out, but yet if you look at the statistic portion of it, LeBron has been a menace on the court on all areas. He's the youngest player to reach 10, 20, 30, first to 40, right? As far as 40K points. He is the first 40-11-11. He was the first, 30-10-10, right? So in that case, we're sitting here talking about he's able to pass, rebound, score, do all of it, and efficiently. But yet, nobody wants to hear that when talking about Michael Jordan because he has 6 rings. So,
which side of the argument are you on? Are you saying rings matter or they don't matter?
I'm saying that they're part of a resume, but when we're sitting here talking about the debate of who's better than who, I don't think the weight has that much as far as how much it values in that conversation.
If I personally feel 7 rings right now, do you think he would have said what he said about ring culture if he had 7 rings?
He may not have, because he would stand behind the 7.
So that's what we're speaking of right now. We're not comparing him to Jordan. We're just simply saying if LeBron would have, let's say, more rings than the ghost that he's chasing, which we know who the ghost is, would he have said the comments that he said?
No, I would say that he wouldn't. That's why I say he's an emotional individual, probably trying to change the narrative. But then Pat had asked, based upon for me to clarify my point, and my point of what I was talking about was literally comparing player to player. The weight doesn't hold that much for me.
So
because rings are a team.
That sounds like a LeBron fan, for real.
But that's because for me, rings are a team thing. Michael wasn't going to win without Scottie. We sit here and talk about super teams being made and how LeBron gets all this flack for creating a super team in Miami, but yet Magic didn't do it without Kareem and Worthy. Michael didn't do it without Scottie and Phil.
Magic did it without Kareem and Worthy. His rookie year, Finals MVP. But it's okay. We'll go on.
Kareem didn't play in that? They weren't.
No, Kareem was there. Kareem was hurt.
Yeah.
He got hurt, yeah. And Worthy wasn't there yet.
But one game, bro. Really, one game.
So Pat, so let me throw it to you because I forgot to mention Kobe has 5. Now I will say this about Kobe and Bryce is I'm gonna throw something to Bryce real quick. Kobe has 5, but I always say about Kobe actually has 2 because you could have plugged any player in on those first 3 with Shaq.
Shout out Tracy McGrady.
Exactly. And God knows I hate Tracy McGrady, but he was right. Wait.
Crazy.
But T-Mac was right when he said a few days ago he could have played on that team and won a championship as well. So
T-Mac was lying on the internet. That's what
this is what I'm saying. Because Bryce knows I think T-Mac's overrated, but T-Mac was right in that I believe he was right in that point. So with that said,
T-Mac was good enough. It was always health and timing and what team he was on. For him, that was the problem. T-Mac was good enough.
No, I totally disagree. Disagree with that.
With that said,
a Lakers fan would.
And then I'm going to throw it to Bryce. Then I'm going to throw it to Bryce out of Pat. With that said, Pat, how did you feel when LeBron James kind of downplayed the notion of ring culture when we all know that was the driving force of his career?
I think his motives are personal when it comes to that because he's going to be held in comparison against a group of guys in the NBA history where he's never going to be on that level. Rings are a major part of legacy when we're talking about the top 10, and he only has 4. The greats, Kobe, Jordan, Magic, they have more than him. So he's going to be held to a different standard when it comes to that, and he knows that. While we people like us sit here and debate about who's the GOAT, he wanted 5, 6, 7. You feel me? Because he said it, right? Right. So it mattered to him. And it is very important to him that he got to that point where he had 5, 6. Tim Duncan. He wanted that because that's going to cement his legacy as being the greatest player of all time. So he's saying that now in year 25 in his career because he's not going to get that 5th ring anytime soon. So yes, he's reflecting on that, and he
can still get 5. I'm not going to say he's not going to get 5 now. He can still get 5.
Thank you, Cam. I hope he gets 5. You feel me? But
that was a good answer, though, Bryce.
What?
The question was to Bryce, and you answered it.
I thought he said Pat.
No, I said Pat first, then Bryce.
I only heard the Bryce part.
No, you good.
Bro, going at my head today, ain't he?
You came in my head.
Mike. It's okay, Mike.
That yellow cat is a big target.
It's okay. Hey, I'm used to this, baby. Hey, 17, baby. You feel me? Ring culture over here,
16.
baby.
So Bryce.
17 on the way.
So no, 16. It's technically 17, but one of those was Detroit's.
Luka.
What are we doing today? All right, here we go. So Bryce, what do you think about the pivot that LeBron James has? I'm going to ask you 2 questions. So the first one, what do you think about the pivot initially?
I'm usually a little more forgiving to people who are constantly in the spotlight because you're being critiqued for everything you say, and sometimes we say stuff we don't even really mean. It's just you get hyped in the moment. This one really irks me though because we know how he's felt about it, and the pivot comes at a time in his career where he can analyze what he's done and look back, and he can make it about whatever he wants. And I know rings are end all be all for judging a player's career, but it is part of the conversation when you take into account the elite tier that LeBron James wants to be included in, which he deserves to be included in. But you can't. I mean, we have footage. People remember it wasn't that long ago when you went to Miami to chase rings, when you went to go play with 2 of the other best players in the league. Just the same thing as Kevin Durant did years later with Golden State. Clearly, that ring meant something to him, even if he acts like later on now he got his ring, so he doesn't care. For some guys, I guess there's levels to this, and LeBron James definitely is in a higher level where he should be talked about with the greats of all time. There's no doubt about that. But I also don't think LeBron would have this narrative if he didn't have the stats to back it up, if he wasn't the points leader. And a lot of that comes into his legacy. He was able to stay healthy. He's been an athletic freak his whole life. He's come in the NBA. He's shown guys how to come in and work every year and to be healthy and to put money into yourself, take care of your body. He's done all those things. That's his legacy to me. The rings and all of that on top of it, that's all cherries on top, especially for a guy like him. He needs them to be in this top tier conversation. But I think if he doesn't have the stats he has, I don't know if he talks like this, because he has to lean on something. For him personally, like Mike said, seems to be an emotional guy. He's got to lean on something. And the rings are something he's always chased. And no matter, he's got the 4, and it's still just not quite enough. So the pivot really did bother me, because like I said, we have footage of him going to Miami to taunt the rest of the league and predict how many rings he was going to win just in Miami. So it's like you made this huge decision. Remember the decision? It was this big fucking thing everybody had to pay attention to on ESPN. Like, everything about your early career, I would say 95% of your career, everything about it has been to chase rings and to bring a ring. It was admirable to bring a ring to Cleveland. I liked how you did it when you did it that way. However, don't act like now that you might not surpass the guys you've been trying to surpass your entire career. Now that is probably not going to happen. Now you're going to pivot and say it's not everything. And you're right, it's not everything, but the way you're twisting it goes against the narrative that you have painted most of your career. Correct. But we know LeBron can flop based on his music choices. So we know he can flop based on his court activity. We know LeBron James is capable of flopping on an opinion, which is not a non-human thing. I'm not trying to dogpile on LeBron. I'm saying specifically this instance, it really bothered me the way he turned on it, to be honest. So yeah, I had a problem with it.
Are you calling LeBron James a flopper?
I will.
Of course. I've always thought he was a bit of a flopper.
Hey, let's not act like Manu Ginobili didn't play in this league.
There's a lot of floppers. SGA's a flopper. Lisa's a flopper. Embiid's a flopper. All the stars now are floppers. Come on.
So Mike, let me throw this to you, because I have been a notorious LeBron James hater for his activities off the court. Okay. On the court, I have always said that LeBron James is the greatest statistical player that has ever played in the NBA. I've given him his flowers. With that said, shouldn't those accolades be enough for him to be secure in his position in the history of the NBA? Because he still comes off as being insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It should be. It should be. But if I'm going to go out on a limb here, I would actually be curious if LeBron feels like his career came up a little bit short, but not because of him, right? I feel like he might have a chip on his shoulder, specifically for the first, 7 years. When he was coming up the way that he took the Cavs to the finals in 2007 by himself, right? Yes, it was by himself, because those players were garbage. And the whole time he was sitting there saying, Dan Gilbert, these teams are making these moves, right? They're drafting well, whatever it may be. I need you to put people around me. Go spend money. So he goes and gets a washed Antoine Jameson at one point, a washed Shaquille O'Neal, and says, here, go deal with these guys, right? Yet the league was getting younger and stronger, which is why teams like Golden State ended up in the mid-2010s with the team that they had, right? So he missed out on 7 years of possible rings, 1, maybe 2, even in that. If we're even talking about 1, we're talking about now he's equal with Kobe on rings. He's equal with Tim Duncan on rings. Multiple people, right? So if there's more than that, it just catapults him even further. So I feel like he might have a chip on his shoulder that, due to certain decisions that were made, he wasn't helped out at all. And his career may be coming up the way that it is, not because of him. I would be cool with all the numbers themselves. That's my argument, a lot of my argument for him, period. Right? But, I mean, shit, that's the only thing I could think of.
So I'll bring
why LeBron need help, bro? Like all these other great legends, you know, well they crying, oh, I didn't have so and so, and I didn't have.
So to that point, a lot of teams were drafting well. The Spurs were put together through the draft. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili,
Tim Duncan,
Tim Duncan, and they had a great coach, Greg Popovich. Right? Mm-hmm. There was that portion as well. LeBron has never played for a Greg Popovich or a Phil Jackson or a Pat Riley.
We're not going to disrespect Eric Spoelstra now. We're not going to do that.
I'm not throwing Eric Spoelstra in there because
he
won the rings.
My point is that it's like, well, LeBron didn't have this and LeBron didn't have that. Everything had to come together for all these teams to win, bro. You know, it wasn't just because they had a great coach and that they had great players. They still had to perform and do well. Just because you're a great coach doesn't mean you're going to win, you know. And just
you're going to sit here and tell me that the triangle offense had nothing to do with Phil Jackson and
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm talking about. He didn't have a system like that. He didn't have a coach to lead him like that.
So explain 2011. What happened in 2011?
2011, I've been noted to say I put that 100% on his shoulders.
Because that would have gave him 5.
Right? Absolutely.
Okay.
I think as an emotional individual, as Bryce was even mentioning, he was living in that moment of putting together a good team. And in fact, when you look at that team, the only person they had under contract at that point was Dwayne Wade. So they had to work on so much to even put that together. That's why I hate the whole he went to Miami to create a super team. What? Do you know how difficult that was to put that team together with the amount of money that was being spent on 3 players? They had to fill out a whole roster. And there was like I said, nobody on there but Dwayne Wade.
The 2011 team was the weakest incarnation of the Heat. And I told everyone back then, if we wanted that first year, the league was going to be in trouble. But with that said, the Heat still were able to get to the finals, played a Dallas team who no one thought was going to beat Miami at that time, and then LeBron James choked in every fourth quarter of that game. And that's just fact. You disagree with what?
I thought they were going to beat Miami because they swept us. Yeah.
They beat Portland. They beat Portland. They beat LA. They beat, what was it, San Antonio? So, yeah, it was on the road for them to win the whole thing.
One of them teams they beat was OKC, I think, but okay.
Oh, OKC.
Yeah. Now it's so Bynum sending Berea to the fucking hospital.
Shout out to Andrew Bynum.
But what I'm saying is that too, I know the shit that happened in Cleveland, but he still technically should have won 2011 in Miami had he not choked in those 4 quarters.
Well, there's a lot of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and yeah, he needed to be humbled a little bit. 2015 should have been his.
I don't remember the specifics of that one. I don't remember the specifics.
Man,
Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love being
LeBron, always
being injured, and Matthew Dellavedova being the best player on the team next to him.
If LeBron would have had help, he would have. But
see, I don't want to hear any of that shit because your guys always had help. Chicago people always had help.
Lies.
What?
Kobe
what was Michael's playoff record? What was Michael's playoff record before Scotty got there?
Kobe always had help.
Kobe had a great team.
Yeah, Kobe always
had help.
Yeah,
when he was dropping 35 points a game,
We're not talking about the Smush Parker. We're not talking about the Smush Parker teams. We're just saying when he won those 2 championships, he had a great season.
Yes.
Pau Gasol was great. Ron Meta World Peace. That man was
I will concede to the championship team years, yes. But he made no excuses. He went and he competed. And he tried to win every year. But when it comes to LeBron fans, he didn't have this and he didn't have that. So
LeBron still played well. He still took his teams to the top. They just didn't win.
But you're saying that because he didn't have help, it got in his way. Kobe fans don't say that. Kobe fans say, bro went out and tried to win every year and then complain about that.
So you think
LeBron fans,
LeBron didn't go out there and try and win?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying people like you defend LeBron by saying he didn't have help.
Absolutely, I do. Look at the
Kobe
teams.
didn't care. Kobe trying to win every game. Every year.
So what you're telling me is LeBron either didn't try to win rings.
Audio went out again.
You're either telling me that LeBron wasn't trying to win rings, or he's I'm making excuses for him. One or the other. Like I'm literally hearing Kobe went out there and tried to win every year. Well, so did LeBron. In fact, I'm not even going to go there. But
you should go there. You should go there.
No. Because
what he said?
You should go there, Mike.
No. So LeBron, I want you to sit there and tell me what LeBron didn't have to do to make. Like to actually put together some of these teams and actually convince Dwayne Wade to stay in Miami, bring Chris Bosh in, because Dwayne Wade was going to go to Chicago at one point.
Whoa. We're not going to do that. No. Dwayne Wade convinced LeBron James to come to Miami.
Other way around. Either way.
Big facts.
Listen, Chicago could only pay 2 max players where Miami could pay 3 max players. So we're not going to say LeBron James convinced D Wade to stay in Miami.
No, it was the other way around. My apologies. I stand corrected. But outside of anything that he'd taken into his own hands, where prior to Miami, and even before they got Ray Allen, and I give that a lot of credit to Pat Riley for bringing those teams. Like Pat Riley was a great GM. He is a great GM.
Still was.
Right. He can put together those teams.
He's slipping a bit in his old age.
Bro, going way off topic, bro. You way off topic. We talking.
I'm trying to understand where you coming from, because you're trying to tell me that LeBron wasn't trying to win rings every year.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying at all.
I'm gonna throw the next question to Bryce.
Let's move on.
Bryce, as far as chasing the ghost, we know the ghost that LeBron was talking about was Michael Jordan, but should that ghost have been Stephen Curry, who has 4 rings as well?
Ooh, that hurt.
You can't chase a ghost still alive running around.
I'm just saying because this generation is defined by those 2 players, and they both have 4 rings. That's where I'm coming from.
I think LeBron's a competitive dude, so he would like to edge Steph Curry out in terms of current, like, I have more than you. But they're also different style players. The ring count, if we want to take LeBron James at his word, then the rings that Steph has shouldn't bother him. However, what should bother LeBron is how Steph changed the league and changed how teams played, changed how kids played, made it capable for a female star like Caitlin Clark to come onto the scene and become the most popular female basketball player. It's all because of how Steph Curry plays. Now, so if the rings don't matter as much, what should bother LeBron is the fact that Curry came in and led a movement, led an entire player movement, team movement, change the NBA. That's what should bother him. In terms of ghost, I don't consider Curry that because he's still playing. But the thing, and I've said this before about Jordan. If you're trying to do that, you can't win against nostalgia. If we want to judge LeBron James in this lens, then we need to wait 10 to 15 years to be real. And also, LeBron needs to shut up, because the best thing Jordan ever did was not expose himself to too much stuff. like I'm sure Jordan says some shit that we'd be like, what? But he doesn't put himself out there in the same way. Now, that opens LeBron up to a different kind of scrutiny, and he seems to be clearly okay with that. And a lot of it probably is a generational thing. We had to grow up in this media situation that other guys didn't have to. So I will give him a little leniency there. But in terms of chasing the ghost, I don't know if you can beat Michael, because it's not like Michael has the most rings either. But what sets Michael apart is the fact that he changed the style of the game back then. Everybody didn't matter, white, black, old, young, Bulls fan or not, everybody was watching Michael. Everybody was watching him. And the fact that he won his rings without losing ever adds to the nostalgia. He adds to his legend by being perfect. The best shows, the best anything we've ever remembered in life never faded into season whatever or kept going into their 80s until people got tired of them. The best things ever go out on high notes. The best things ever that we remember go out on top. Jordan went out. I mean, I know there's the Wizard years, but he never went to the finals and lost. And that's part of his legend. You know, there's not a lot of guys who even, it doesn't matter how many rings they have, can say they were perfect in the finals. There's so much that goes along with the aura of MJ that I don't think, even if LeBron had the same accolades, that we would even be able to predict with us being so close to LeBron James. He's still playing. He's still playing. I would never put him above Jordan. But like Cam said, he's the greatest statistical player. He's the greatest. He has the most points. He still has a lot of rings. He has all these accolades. I'm not taking away from LeBron, but if you want to chase the ghost, you will continue to chase that ghost to the day you die, because Jordan's aura and his legend is never going to go away, because he was perfect and he changed the league and he was everything that he is touted to be. That's fine. LeBron shouldn't chase that. LeBron should know how to feel secure and feel fulfilled in his career, because he's done amazing things. I'm not taking it away, but you gotta stop chasing the ghost that no one's ever going to give you the props. No one's ever going to put you there, and the people that do, they're looking at it in their own window, and that's fine. But in terms of scope and everything, I don't know if anyone's ever going to do that, to be honest with you.
So,
bro, you should put Chef in front of your name, bro. You just cook, bro.
If we're talking about rings and being undefeated in the finals, there's somebody with 8.
That's fine, but he didn't change the game or whatever, right? Or he didn't come in. Now you can say even a guy like Magic and Bird and what they did, they all led to what was the perfect opportunity for Michael Jordan. I'm not saying there wasn't some luck involved and there wasn't like some great timing things to go, but someone had to go out there and take it, and Jordan went and took it.
Thank you, Brian, for saying that. Okay. Thank you.
So when Jordan changed the game,
oh my God,
right? He changed the game in different ways, right? As the player, but wouldn't it be safe to say that the reason Michael did change the game was because of the play style? Like, can we give Phil Jackson a little bit credit here? Or not even Phil Jackson.
Because Michael was that before Phil got there.
Yes, he
was winning a championship. We can say, you know, he couldn't have done it maybe without Scottie and without his role players at a time. But that doesn't mean that he's guaranteed to go out and win a championship regardless. Everybody talks about the way Jordan played. He struck fear in players. He wasn't going around making buddies. They were friends later, but the way Jordan did it is what adds to the aura and the legend.
Yes.
It's like
he still had to go do it.
So it would actually be Tex Winter and not Phil Jackson.
Tex Winter is the one that designed the triangle offense. But
exactly.
But what we're saying is that Jordan was Jordan, not the championships, but Jordan was Jordan as far as the killer instinct before Phil Jackson took over, I believe, in 1989.
Everything had to be perfect to win championships, but Jordan's what takes them over the finish line.
Like, they were calling Michael Jordan the greatest player of all time before he won his first championship.
They were just waiting on him to win that championship.
Come on, bro.
Hey, the same thing was said about LeBron. He was the chosen one, right?
He was.
Where we're at.
He was.
But it's hard to live up to those expectations. I mean,
he wasn't MVP of the league.
But we're also talking about, when I say style of play, it's the triangle offense, which also got your boy 5 rings, right? But also,
it was part of it, bro. It wasn't everything. That's what we're
so
trying
when people
to tell
can't
you.
guard it, it's not the system. It's just the player only.
No, it's everything.
Right.
It's
so that's what I'm trying to say.
it.
It's like we're giving so much credit to the individual player when even then, at that point, we also had illegal defense that is no longer that anymore. So that will also help.
You have
Michael
all
Jordan
these
in the
excuses why LeBron didn't win.
No. I'm not trying to make any excuses. I'm not trying to make any excuses at all. I'm just trying to bring in, as devil's advocate, another point that helped push Michael Jordan into this narrative.
So
Michael Jordan pushed Michael Jordan into this narrative.
This is.
He didn't need our help, bro. He didn't need our help.
He
was already that guy.
A fantastic podcast. We do have.
Bro,
We
I'm
do
tired
have.
of being quiet. I'm tired.
So he couldn't get out of the first round until Phil and Scotty got there. But that's not Jordan's fault.
And Phil and Scotty didn't go nowhere without Michael Jordan. Okay, remember that.
But I'm saying, and my point is, in
could go
all
on
this talk, when we're talking about Jordan, Phil Jackson to me is the most important individual, and what backs that up is the fact that he left Chicago after 6, went to your team, and did that same exact thing with a whole different team in a different era.
Phil Jackson will not say that himself. That he was the most important.
I don't care what Phil Jackson's going to say. I'll tell him, bro.
Crazy? Bro,
that's
are you crazy? What? Phil Jackson?
So we're gonna wrap it up.
Put some respect on the GOAT name. That's what you do.
I do. LeBron is the GOAT.
Mike,
put some respect on Kobe name.
Tell the people where they can find you at, Mike.
You can find me on Instagram, MichaelFranz0726. You can also find me on Twitter, not X, Twitter. McCartney0726. Or you can find me on Facebook at Kobe's Not Even Top 10.
God damn.
That's hilarious.
Pat, where can the people find you at?
We're almost down, man. You took a shot.
Yeah, hey, bro, I'm used to that. Phoenix Sun, bro.
You started it, I ended it, so we're good.
Nah, you think the same lame ass shit I be hearing every day. But anyway, Curry _Chivo on Instagram and Patrick Polarti Jr. on Facebook. I'm going in. Let's go.
Bryce.
Hey, it's all love and it's always fun. And just remember, we're all better than whatever shit Tate Gilbert Arenas has. We're all better than that. That's all. We all have that as a constellation, okay?
On that note, we're going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation Podcast. Everyone stay safe, and we are out. God damn.